Professor Horror. Scary Stories.
The Girl in the Rain. The small town of Elden was not accustomed to long stretches of rain. The days of rain continued for what felt like an eternity, and the downpour didn't seem to have an end in sight. The residents grew wary, but nothing seemed unusual until the first sighting. A young girl, drenched in rain, dressed in a long white dress that clung to her fragile frame, began to appear on the outskirts of town. She was always seen standing still in the rain, hair plastered to her face, staring ahead at nothing in particular. Those who saw her first assumed she was a lost child or someone needing help, but whenever someone approached her, she would seemingly vanish, only to appear in a different part of town. Rumors began to circulate. Whispers of the girl in the rain were shared at diners, schools, and offices. Many believed she was just a figment of collective imagination, exacerbated by the gloom of the persistent rain. Others believed she might have been a ghost, even though the demand for a realistic explanation dismissed these claims. One evening, Helen, a high school teacher, was grading papers by the window when she noticed the girl standing outside her house. The sight of a wet, frail child sent a shiver down her spine. Pushing away her initial fear, she stepped outside with an umbrella to offer the girl shelter. But as Helen approached, the girl didn't move or acknowledge her. Just as Helen was within a few feet of her, the girl turned, revealing eyes filled with haunting sadness. Then, without a word, she ran into the forest that bordered Helen's home. Curiosity overcoming her fear, Helen decided to follow. The dense trees seemed even more ominous with the rain pouring down, the sound of the droplets drowning out any other noise. She could see the faint silhouette of the girl ahead, always just out of reach. Helen continued deeper into the woods, unsettled that she was being watched. Soon, Helen stumbled upon an old, dilapidated house, half concealed by the overgrowth. It looked as though it had been abandoned for years. The front door was ajar. The girl's wet footprints led Helen inside. Inside, the house seemed stuck in time. Dust-covered furniture, old photographs, and children's toys littered the floor. As Helen ventured further, she found a room filled with newspaper clippings and articles. They all reported the same story. A decade ago, a young girl named Emily had disappeared in these woods during a rainstorm, never to be found. The realization hit Helen hard. The girl outside, the one everyone had seen in the rain, was Emily. But that didn't explain her appearance or why she'd led Helen here. Suddenly, a chilling voice broke the silence.
Looking for someone?
Helen turned to find an older, rough-looking man standing in the doorway, blocking her exit. His intent was clear. It turned out that Emily had not merely gotten lost that fateful day. She had found this house and the man who lived inside. He had been her end, and now he had been hiding in plain sight in Elden all these years. But Emily's appearance wasn't a coincidence. It was a desperate plea for someone to uncover the truth. The ensuing scream from the house alerted the nearby search party who had been looking for Helen. The man was overpowered, arrested, and eventually convicted for his crimes, thanks to Helen's evidence and the testimonies from other townspeople who had also been led to the house by the mysterious girl in the rain. Months later, the rain finally ceased. The sun emerged, casting its warm, golden rays upon Elden. And just as the town began to heal and move on, a small monument was erected near the woods, a tribute to the girl in the rain, Emily, whose spirit had ensured that justice prevailed.